The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Hello YouTube. How's everybody going? How's everything going for everybody? I hope everything's going good. Sorry I hadn't been in touch lately. The last couple of days. Been working on the computer trying to get the pausing and slipping and sliding and all the craziness to go away. Hopefully it's fixed now. Maybe. We'll see. But this ain't good, folks. They're not gonna let this Iran situation go away. I'm not gonna let it go away at all. So y'all read and make your own determination. But it doesn't look good. It don't look good at all. I got 3 clips in the back. Hopefully YouTube won't disband it, or third copy, poppy, whatever you want to call it. Whatever they want, whatever they don't want you to have on, maybe they'll let it up. We'll see. After I get it recorded and put it up. We got a lot of bad stuff going on, people. Looks like our New Year's resolutions are they don't look like they're gonna be good, or whatever ones we ever made for this new year may end up to be quite terrible. I don't know. I try to get in here and not get too upset, but it's kind of hard not to with some of the stuff that's going on. It just gets worse and worse, and the comments get worse and worse, and the hate and discontent with Iran's getting worse. Fuel prices is going up again. Of course, they put sanctions on Iran, and Iran, of course, if it was me, I'd do the same thing. Raise prices. So, you know, don't forget now that we were trying to get, or planning on getting into the reserves. Don't forget that either. That was reported on last week, the week before. This stuff just gets worse and worse. They're not going to be happy until they start a whole new war with a whole nother country. Or cause them to want to create war against us. But folks, we got to be strong enough to see through that and keep our heads going in the right direction so we can get rid of these half-wit, two-bit no-goods out of office. All the ones that voted for the NDAA bill and the ones that pushed to keep the wording in the bill. I made a video the other day with Ron Paul in it, and they were cheating him so bad that I put a flag over everybody else's face just to make it even, so you didn't get their hypnotist eyes, since they speak so wickedly tongued. But everybody didn't appreciate it. Sorry about that, but that's the way I feel. If you don't feel that way, then it's my freedom of speech. Heads up, God bless, and have fun and watch.
Iran has successfully test-fired 2 long-range missiles on the last day of major Navy exercises in international waters of the Persian Gulf. This comes amid mounting Western pressure on the country over its nuclear ambitions. Tehran says it's ready to counter any attack by enemies like Israel or the United States. Iran has also angrily reacted to new U.S. sanctions targeting its central bank and financial sector. It has been threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important oil export route linking the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean. Meanwhile, the EU is mulling an embargo on the purchase of Iranian oil, and a decision on that is expected before the end of the month. The director of the Beirut-based Center for Middle East Studies, Dr. Hisham Jaber, believes that the West's actions are already adding fuel to a highly flammable situation.
The United States is trying and doing its best, and every day they are adding a new sanction against Iran. And I think Iran is going with its nuclear program, and it will not stop it. If the exportation of the oil of Iran will be threatening, in my opinion, even though maybe Iran will not close the Strait of Hormuz, but it may disturb the navigation in that area. In this case, with the presence of intensive military battleship from both sides, we risk to have a small conflict, and this small conflict can increase and to be bigger and bigger and may lead to a war in the region.
2012 is going to be a really hardcore year. It's brinkmanship and blustering on both sides, US and Tehran. Don't forget that on the 31st of December, Obama passed what is basically a criminalization operation of anyone who tries to do deals with the Iranian central bank. Well, Russia will ignore it. China will ignore it. South Korea, which is one of the top importers of Iranian energy, will ignore it. Other countries in the Middle East and Latin America or Central Asia, like Turkmenistan, they do gas swaps, for instance, will ignore it. The thing is, Iran is going to be paid for its energy in third-party accounts, in different accounts with the banks in Turkey, for instance, in yuan by the Chinese. In Venezuela, they have already an agreement. So these sanctions are not actually going to bite. So why have they been approved, and why? And for what purpose, in fact? AIPAC, Israeli lobby, once again. So they are trying to ratchet up the rhetoric and ratchet up the economic sanctions against Iran, trying to push the US in an electoral year to go to war in Iran, which is the variables are so infinite that you can't really know if there's any small measure of success in the end. So it's not going to work, basically. So this is how we start 2012. Yes, it's an act of war. Can you imagine if it was the other way around? If these sanctions were against American exports of oil, or if these sanctions were against China, for instance, assuming China, main source of foreign exchange for China will be to export energy. It is an act of war. The thing is how you're going to implement it and who's going to respect it. Maybe the Europeans, today the French Foreign Ministry pathetically is saying, look, we have to curb our imports of Iranian oil. What's going to happen to the European economy if that happens? Oil, now it's 108 a barrel. Soon it's going to be 120. And in 1 month could be 140, 150. And you want to recover the economies of the US and Europe as well. With oil at 150, it's not going to happen. And it's a totally counterproductive law and amendments. And the way it's going to be interpreted by the Obama administration, I'm not sure they're going to try to provoke a confrontation against South Korea, for instance, an ally, with Russia, with China, or with countries in South America or in Central Asia for that matter.
Grocer Jose Torres has been a supporter of Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez for more than a decade. And he says Chavez should be able to have relations with any other foreign leader he wants. He crosses out the headline of a local paper saying Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's visit sets off alarms.
There are fewer people against the visit than those like me who are for it.
But this woman says Ahmadinejad's visit is evidence that Venezuela is on the wrong path.
Our crazy president likes all the other crazy leaders from abroad, even those who have died, like Gaddafi.
This is Ahmadinejad's fourth visit to Venezuela. He and Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez see themselves as allies against what they call U.S. imperialism. After stopping here, Ahmadinejad's going to go on to see other allies in Cuba, Nicaragua, and Ecuador. A former Venezuelan diplomat who served under Chavez says the number of Latin American countries Ahmadinejad is not visiting says something about his relations with those leaders.
Brazil, Mexico,
Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, countries with very distinct politics and points of view, haven't invited Ahmadinejad.
Tensions have been rising between Iran and the European Union and the US since late December. That's when Iran threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz if the West followed through on threats to sanction its oil exports. The US Navy responded by saying it would not tolerate such a blockade. Around 40% of the world's oil passes through the strait. Ahmadinejad's latest Latin American tour comes as many scholars say Iran is feeling the pinch of sanctions against its nuclear program.
This is a good time to go because Iran seems to be in trouble economically, politically, seems to be isolated diplomatically in the world, and it's always good to show that you have at least some people who are with you when times are tough.
Many countries in Latin America have supported Iran's nuclear program, which it says is for peaceful purposes. Iran has been courting Latin America for years, opening embassies across the region and signing trade deals. Ahmadinejad's trip to the region is meant to secure more of those trade deals. That he's doing so right in the US's backyard is no doubt a plus. Adam Rainey, Al Jazeera, Caracas.